I mean,
she's the only person I think. There are only two people I think that have been canceled, and it's Sabrina Claudio and Chrisette Michelle. They're the only people I've seen.
Yeah.
Like people actually held on to like, yo, we done with them. Like people say they cancel Kanye. Kanye could come out with an album tomorrow.
Yeah.
And people would still listen to it to a rate of enough to where they'd be like, oh, okay. But when people say they're gonna cancel somebody, I'll be like, okay.
No, I mean,
they canceled Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
You can't cancel anybody, but like the funny part is, like we said, to keep the same energy. But you know who ever keeps the same energy? No one. No one keeps the same energy ever. And if you do, and you try to do it, then people think you're crazy for actually keeping the same. It's called being accountable.
They told me they canceled Jay-Z, and then they dropped them shoes.
Yeah,
shoes look fire.
They dropped shoes?
Yeah. You should go take a look at them.
All right. I mean,
it's actually not bad.
Shoes, I'm sure they come in many different colorways.
Yeah.
Especially the colorway of black. Black and ugly as ever. However, say Houston down to my socks. It's your boy. Yeah, no, that was terrible. It's I know it was a horrible one, but it's all good. Avery, like a very nice guy, it's still up there. Actually, we're back with another In My Humble Opinion podcast, and we also have Just Devon.
Hi, how's it going?
Great.
We're back this week.
We
were gone this last week. Took a nice little vacation, relaxed.
Did we?
And now we're back. Well, we did. I mean, we didn't post a lot. We was,
recording.
I was relaxed. So
it was a regular week.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay.
It's like, all right.
Fair enough. Then we're joined with a special guest today by the name of Chad Black, singer, songwriter, producer, arranger, entrepreneur, part-time ninja, Jedi, four-time WWE champion. He did my taxes. He fixed the muffler on my car. He just does so much stuff.
A lot of stuff.
He does so much stuff. You can't just put him in a box. You know? How you doing today?
What's up? Listen, I just want to say I have never had an introduction so prolific. I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's a good start.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to be here. I've been watching and following you guys, and I think this is super
dope. Thank you very much.
And really only the beginning of where I can really see you guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
Of course.
We honestly feel the same way about the artists we pull on. I mean, and we're going to get into it because we're going to talk about your agency and some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Houston has a lot of talent. Dope Beezy talked about it. Was that the last episode or the episode before?
It was the episode before.
Mm-hmm. It's just got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
The whole thing is the only problems that I've ever had with the city is just the lack of the machine behind it.
Mm-hmm.
There's talented people here. They just ain't got no place to go. They have to go somewhere else to do stuff. And now they have people, hopefully like us, like you, like other people that are like, okay, let me start on the ground floor and start building out this net so people have places to develop their craft, places to go to for their media, places like that. That's all it is, because there's just entirely too many people here for it to not pop.
That's
eventually.
True. You know, and in addition to the lack of the machine right here, there's always been a lack of unity. So one of the biggest things, one of my biggest points that I'd like to prove is that when you get a group of people that may be the minority and you get them to come together, they all start to realize how much more powerful we are.
Absolutely.
Together. And
Absolutely.
So then the fans and the community responds to that, and then they come out and they don't feel like they can only cheer for one artist. They can support an entire agency of people. So that's a part of the plan or the vision as well. It's just to promote the unity of it all.
It makes sense. I mean, you see it work in a lot of things. The fact that Jay-Z, I'm 35, so it's like, that's what I look at. But like the fact that Jay-Z had like Rockefeller, and then you have somebody like Beanie Siegel, like somebody who wasn't like into that type of rap would be like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to that because he's affiliated with this person. Right. So you've seen collectives be together, and an agency collective,
right?
And it makes perfect sense.
Right.
Plus, you work well with a lot of people. We've seen you work well with. We're not gonna go there. We've seen you work well with somebody, but if we're gonna start, let's start from the beginning. Who is Chad J?
Definitely somebody I didn't come here to talk about. So I thank you for that. That is my start, and we all have a iffy relationship. Sometimes we have, are shaky about our starts. And so that was a guy, an artist who was lost and who really desperately needed to be a part of an agency of some sort to help him navigate his way through things and make better decisions. Okay. So, but because of that guy, which now makes me happy that you brought it up, a wealth of experience was born, and that guy went through the things that he went through, so that Chad Black and the 713 agency, we have a full experience to pull from in terms of following out the vision of being able to help people not have to go through some of the things that Chad J went through.
All right.
If you're talking about, when we're talking about going back to just the Chad J, let's not say era, but just the time we were saying Chad J, this is your start. How old are you?
This is 12, 13, 14.
12, 13, and 14. Yeah, you're a kid, and you're here in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, where are you from? You're from here?
I'm from Houston.
Now,
raised.
What gets your start into singing?
Well, it started off with a keyboard that was gifted to me one Christmas, and then that turned into me producing, and then that turned into me writing. And then I've always looked up to Missy Elliott, Pharrell, and Timbaland. Okay. And I love how they're able to have these dual careers, some even quadruple careers. They're able to do whatever they want to do, when they want to do it, go in and out of season. And that's unintentionally, true. I have followed that path. So that started as a kid. I was doing this and doing that. I never really stuck to one thing, which was an issue, but it was only the beginning of what I now see my purpose is. And I'm not supposed to be in just doing one thing.
And that could definitely be an issue early on.
Absolutely.
And I mean, especially, I guess, the music industry, let's just call it of old, where we want you to do one thing.
What are you good at?
Yeah. We want you. And now they're getting to this point where, I mean, you have so many people getting in the entertainment industry that are like, oh, no, I just do a bunch of stuff. Like, what do you do? Whatever I feel like doing right now.
Exactly.
Like today I'm doing comedy. Tomorrow I'm doing this. Tomorrow I'm doing this. As long as I figure out a way to market and sell it, that's
and
what
what's
I
the
do.
issue? And so to piggyback off of that, because so many people are doing it, there's power in that, in that number, and in that unity, and to where we're saying to the record companies, we don't have to do one thing. We don't have to sing
Makes
pop.
sense.
And if enough of us say it, who are they going to sign?
Yeah.
You know, outside of us. So it's just for many years they've had the power, or they have. Is this a PG show?
No.
Okay, well, they have mind fucked us all into thinking that we have to be cookie cutter.
It's not PG, but my mom looks at the show. Hi, Mom.
Okay,
sorry.
Well,
he said,
you tell me that now.
Brenda.
We're sorry.
No. She just be like, no.
You told me that. He told me that now.
Yeah.
No. But
it's
for real,
his fault, Mom.
it is one of those things where it's like you're seeing a lot. I told my brother I saw Phony People.
Yeah.
Phony People, the collective out of Brooklyn, and they did like 8 different styles of music in that concert, and it was a great concert. They were doing ska, they were doing reggae, they were doing R&B, they were doing hip hop, they were doing jazz, funk, and it was an enjoyable concert throughout. And I just kept looking. I'm like, they couldn't have done this in 2000.
No,
like somebody would have been like, "What do y'all do?"
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Put you in a box.
At 13. You decide you're playing. Actually, I'm sorry. What is it? What was your main focus then at 13?
I was literally experimenting with everything at the same damn time. So I really didn't have a focus. I just knew music was the focus, and I knew that music in general, everything about it fascinated me. I was fascinated by it. So I didn't have a focus. I really didn't. I cannot remember me focusing on one thing until I started to get hired for things.
Who was your first hire? Who hired you first?
Oh, wow. Who hired me first? Probably a church.
Okay.
Probably my church at the time. And then from there, I started to work with the members who wanted to have careers in music and things like that. And then they told somebody, and then they told somebody. And so here I am over a decade later, still doing the same thing.
That's good. Word of mouth. Each one teach one.
Absolutely. And over 10 years of that, I'm able to do it full time. And I actually, fun fact, I've never had a 9-to-5 before. I came out of high school doing music.
Okay.
Yeah. It's achievable.
It is achievable. It is. Were there ups and downs and
I mean, of course.
And times where I was trying to find my next cheeseburger? Absolutely. But it is achievable. It's not for everybody, but it's achievable.
You got the cheeseburger? I thought you would have had the ramen. Golly.
I was at least at a cheeseburger. I've never been beneath. Yeah.
Wow.
I've never had to,
That's success.
but I eat noodles by choice, though.
Okay.
I go buy some noodles now.
I'll go buy some noodles now, but I'm saying, like, at least you had $1. You didn't have
But
to
he's
change.
saying he was never forced into the noodle life. He chose it.
Right.
I'll
still give me some noodles.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're coming out you start branching out of, I guess, let's say that those beginnings where you're at the church. When is one of your first big jobs, or where do you start to feel like you're starting to move?
First big jobs. For me, it wasn't really, the way that I defined big wasn't really based on the money. It wasn't really based on the name. It was more so the trust level started to expand.
Okay.
So I may be working with a local artist, but they want me to do the project. They want me to see it through. They want me to work on the branding. For me, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
The more responsibility someone entrusted to me, that made me feel like I'm making it. Because if this person can see it, then Beyonce can see it, and Mary J. Blige one day will see it.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a big deal. I don't really name drop, so I won't get into names that I've worked with, but I've done really good, really well for myself.
You dropped 2. I was just picking them up.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I won't get into that because that's something that I actually teach my artists, so I have to live up to that. We don't do that just because we want to let things speak for themselves.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so what we do is we just go, look up things, and everything is out there. Everything I've ever done can be researched. But that was a big deal to me when people started to trust me with things, because that said a lot to me. Because I know that people are very, cautious when it comes to music, business, money, things like that. So when people are giving me $5,000 budgets, at 16 and 17 years old, and saying, "Hey, I trust you to do what you think should be done with this," to me, I felt like I had made it.
How is your family and your parents looking at you where you're like 16? Trust me, nobody ever handed me $5,000 anything at 16 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they gave me $5,000 at 16 years old, it would have been a horrible song.
Right.
Like I was like,
right.
It's the Mario Brothers theme.
Yeah.
I tried, but I spent all your money.
Right.
So,
and I had moments of irresponsibility financially, but I was always able to keep. I always had a good discipline about myself, even at a young age. I was able to manage the business budget well, and then I blew my own money, my portion out of it. But I didn't, I wasn't blowing the client's money, but I definitely did spend my money rather quickly at that age. But my parents were very. I grew up with it was 4 boys total, and 3 of them were athletes. So the whole house, therefore, was an athletic, sports, games every Saturday type of house. So I was definitely the black sheep, hence where black comes from. That's not actually my last name.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just kind of played with that because I always felt like the black sheep. Not because they
the
made
youngest
me.
Or the oldest?
I was the oldest.
Okay, so you're the oldest.
Right.
You're the singer.
Wow.
Everybody else.
I'm the
is
weird
doing
one.
sports.
Yeah, and everybody
Okay.
else is
You
on
play no sport.
Right.
No sports.
You been interested in any sports?
Well, no, I've tried a few, and then I had one incident where somebody hit me so damn hard on the field, my damn helmet flew off of my body.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing
and
wrong.
So, but see, God has a way of shaking you.
That's
And-
what he does.
and
Oh, I'm not knocking you. I'm not interested in sports at all. And he got his head
Telling
blown
you,
off. So
I was in a practice, and I remember the coach was like, "Here, you just gonna run the ball." And I took the ball, and then I woke up on the ground.
Wow.
I told my homeboy, I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "Man, you cut and jumped, and then one dude hit you and spun you in the air, and then the other dude hit you while you was in the air." But the coach was just happy that I held onto the ball. Holding on the ball was completely involuntary. Like, I woke up just with the ball in my hand. I was like, what? Last time. I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I said,
Who would
"What
want to
the-"
do that?
I said, why?
makes no
Why
sense
do
to
y'all sign up for this?
Yeah.
I said, I'm done. I'm through. I'm out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So I can
But,
imagine
you know,
the pressure in
the
your
Lord
family.
shakes you.
Right, but
Yeah.
imagine living with
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
house full of athletes, and at that time I felt completely weird. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Just like I was just completely, And so for me, I gave it a try, and that was my sign and my parents' sign. So at that point, I had no issues with them trying to pressure me
I
anymore.
feel that.
Because at that point, they're trying to stay out of the emergency room.
Okay.
And so I was able to really, decide and make a decision to focus on what I already know that I was put here to do.
Okay.
And that was music and the business of music. So
makes sense.
And I've been focused ever since then.
How your brothers with you in the music?
They love it. Actually, one of my brothers, who is also currently an athlete, also just recently started like rapping out of nowhere. And I'm not talking about like, Hustle and Flow or whatever. No disrespect to the movie, but I'm not talking about like ABC
But
1, 2, 3.
really,
But all of a sudden, he just has these bars that just
wow,
and he just can go, and it never ends. It's nothing amateur about it. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to bring him on the show.
Dope.
Yeah, but
no, that's really dope.
Yeah, so but they've always been supportive. They come to the shows. I mean, one time they had to do security, just any little thing. They kind of get in where they fit in and show their support in their own way, which is always cool.
Yeah, that's positive. When your brothers do security for you, that's a really big one there.
Well, you'll mess around and really get your ass whooped too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna get my ass whooped for my brother though. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do security for this nigga over here.
I'll probably have to do security for you.
Yeah, probably.
See, that's how it works.
Oh, y'all can both come do it for me.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah. So you are, I was like, you're one of four.
Wow.
You're the oldest. You actually, now you're starting to, you feel comfortable branching out into music after that incident with whatever happened on the field.
Yeah.
So now that you're out there, what was your goal? What were you trying to do?
Yeah, my goal was to execute, because I know that I'm all over the place. My goal just became to execute, even in my chaos, whatever I was doing at the time, to execute it to the absolute fullest. So if I was in the studio recording, I perfected that, and I worked on that. I got that music out, and so in that time, that's what I was doing. That's what I was focused on. And then when I transitioned into, because I had to, because I didn't have the money to have a team and get somebody to help me with branding and all that, because I had to learn the business of music, because there was no agency for me to join. I became my own manager. And so then I went into business mode. And it was really amazing how I was able to kind of split myself into these different characters. It's almost kind of concerning how I was able to to really just split myself up, because that's an artist's worst nightmare.
Yes.
To have to do those things for
all the extra stuff.
Yeah, and have to be that many different people. Representing yourself. You doing the singing, the recording, and all that. Yeah. For me, it was I found it to be fun, and it was just it was a challenge that I welcomed always. And I mean,
it's pretty good too, because you nobody can do it better than yourself. Especially like when you're your own stylist, when you're writing your own stuff, when you're trying to negotiate your own deals. It takes a special type of human being to be able to unlock parts of their brain to compartmentalize actually how to do that. That's amazing, man. Yeah. My hat goes off to you.
Yeah. So so now I try to teach that to artists, that you don't wait. First of all, when you do get a chance to get a team, you still make sure that you are very nosy about everything and you stay involved and you stay, but it's nothing wrong with that either. It's nothing wrong with being frugal and or wise enough to know that if this is not overwhelming me yet, I don't absolutely need a team and absolutely need a manager. It doesn't make you any more of an artist to have representation, or any less if you don't. So
preach,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So I guess when in the beginning of your career, what made you stay in Houston? Because the prevailing wisdom at the time would definitely be to leave.
And it still is. It still is. That is still the thing.
Here we
and
go.
I get that question all the time. Why won't you go? Ooh, if you went to LA, you would be. And in my mind, actually the name of the reality show is Houston, the New Hollywood.
Okay.
And I say that because my goal has always been to create a Hollywood, if you will, right here in Houston. I don't understand the concept of having to leave and go somewhere else to be successful when I was born and raised and put all of my work in here.
Oh, yeah.
So I literally always knew that I was like, no, because I don't, I got separation anxiety. I'm a mama's boy. It's too many different things. So I don't just want to up and leave. Now, I've been to LA and I've worked in LA and I have clients in LA. So I prefer the back and forth. I don't necessarily want to live there until I have the means to have a house there and have a house here. And that's just what I want. So The rebel in me just wouldn't. Damn near I didn't go because I was being told to go, and it's almost like, no, I'm gonna do this a different way just because. You know what I'm saying? So
don't tell me how to do things.
Yeah. So I literally created my own Hollywood, my own scene here, and so I fly in people to come do seminars here. I fly in American Idol. Candace Glover has come here to do a concert. Just different things that I'm working on. And different connections I've made, I have them come here so they can see what we have to offer. Because I don't care what nobody's saying. I'll say this boldly: Houston ain't nobody out singing. Ain't nobody out singing Houston.
Nobody.
Y'all may out do whatever else. I know LA is a dance capital and all that and whatever. But if you want to hear some singing, you come on down to Houston.
Nobody out singing.
And people in the industry know that. They know that you don't come to Houston and just halfway sing, because you will get ate up.
Now you were talking about so Candace Glover. Mm-hmm. How do you make that connection?
Candace was here in town doing a show. I think she was singing at a fashion show. Shout out to Vincent Powell. He was actually the curator behind that. And we were on the same ticket. And so we meet backstage, that classic story to where we're in the same place.
Same time. It was fate.
Same time, yeah. So we meet backstage, instantly hit it off. And from there, we been friends ever since.
That's what's up.
We were in the studio, I think maybe a month later, and we have a duet out now.
As you do.
Love No Fear.
Yeah.
So
let's actually play, because we have a video of you and Candace.
Okay.
Let's play a little bit of that.
And I'm a nigga in position lady. I know you used to niggas calling you baby. I'm usually known for making bitches go crazy. Diamonds ain't nothing when I'm rocking with you. But let's see, I got Gucci on the summer edition. I mean swimsuits up in Belize, giving me the.
Now, what was it about Candace that kind of made you think, or the connection between you two?
Candace is just a genius at what she does. Okay. She's a stellar singer.
Yeah.
She's a stellar writer. There was nothing about her that I could not really relate to. It's almost like boy and girl versions of each other. Yeah,
I can see that because naturally when you get on a track together, you compliment each other. Sometimes when you listen to people, you hear somebody carrying the other one. When you guys get on, it's
or somebody just over the other one, where it's just like, oh, okay, this person's just
right. And for us, we just naturally, we didn't even have to really build that. We just naturally always knew how to kind of rotate in orbit around each other. I'm never in her way. She's never in mine. And so, I think it's about time we do something else. That's been a few years. But, yeah, that's my sister at this point.
Okay. Okay. Now, what made you decide to create the agency? Because you alluded to the agency a few times. So, let's talk about the name of your agency, why you created it, and what's the goal behind that.
The 713 agency is just the thing that I wish I had when I was coming up, and we talked about that a little bit off camera. I just had no direction. So I had to make, which was all in God's plan. Now I know that, because in order to be able to start the 713 agency and to properly run it, I needed to go through those things. But it's just to give that guy or that young lady that just doesn't really know, has the raw talent, but doesn't know how to cultivate the move and what moves to make, and just really the direction of it all is why I created it, so that the younger artists have somewhere to go and get artist development. Because in order to create our own Hollywood or the equivalent to it in Hollywood, you get signed, there's artist development. You take that time to hone in on your craft. You perfect it. You get in the studio, you record, you experience vocal producers, co-writers, and in Houston, absolutely, we don't, that isn't really pushed. It's like you just get in the studio, you start recording, nobody helping you with your process. It doesn't sound good. It's not mixed. It's not mastered. So I created the agency, first of all, to promote unity, because that's been a big thing. And then also to help people create that foundation that is important. I don't know why people think you just can. There's a process with everything. So I don't know why people think they can just kind of skip through the process.
It could be a big effect from rap. Because with rap, I do feel like it's a quicker to kind of get. It's like, look, we can get you in the studio, we can make something. But it's kind of, I'm thinking like just when you said that, Beyonce and her development of the two sisters,
Chloe and Halle.
They were. I remember it was a thing where they had been getting developed for so long, I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, these girls have been with it forever. They ain't never gonna put out nothing.
Right.
And then when they did,
It made
was
sense.
such
It
so
made sense.
complete.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and really, it's just like, okay, we took the time out
Absolutely.
to get this stuff together. So yeah, that's like a big thing, I think, when we're talking about developing a singer. A lot of that plays into it. It's gonna take a lot more development, I think, and if you really invest the time, the results are it's like a Chloe and Haley. It's literally like when I first heard that album, I was like, oh
Yeah, it's developed.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
Yeah, it's complete. And so that's something that I did not have as a young artist. And if it was available, not that I'm starting the first agency ever in the world, but if it was available, I did not know about it, which means that it was not moving enough. Yeah. And so more than the agency, my goal is to, and I'm so blessed because I'm looking at it become a movement. Okay. And it's really taking on a life of its own. I founded it and I've put it out there, but to see people take it and to get signed to it and proudly want to announce, hey, I'm a part of the 713 agency, and put it out there and watch their people, and to watch the people that support them be excited for them because they know that something different is about to happen. So for me, that is really priceless, just to see the effect that it's having on the city.
That's real positive.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's really it really is confirmation for me that all the sacrifices and everything I've gone through, it all finally makes sense. Yeah. At 29, why I was lost at 13, 14, 15 on up. To be honest with you, just up until recently, because although I've been going, I've been working, but I've always felt a little bit uneasy about what is my purpose, like what is. I'm singing, I'm doing shows, but none of that really fulfilled me like this does.
How long has this How long has this agency been around?
We just made a 30 days.
30 days?
And in 30 days, we've already succeeded over 27, 28 clients.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really important to have it, even just developing an artist, rapper, whatever, singer, just the tiniest detail. I'm sure when you first started and you would sing a song you would record a song and you'd hear it and you'd be like, why doesn't it sound like the radio? Nobody told you something as simple as like EQ.
Well,
reverb.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah. And
those tiny things.
I mean, let's talk about that then. Since we're talking about this is a new agency, but we want people to know like the amount of experience that you have in the game, considering you've been doing this since you've been 13. What were some of those mistakes that you were making early on that you're like, okay, I'll be making sure you don't make these mistakes?
Well, the first thing, which I'm so glad, that's a great question. The first thing is, for me, what was very traumatic for me, I dealt with, and I oftentimes ended up in situations where there was a false sense of family. So people would bring me into these camps and they would say, we got you. And those words, I would hang on those words. And it wouldn't really be the truth.
And every record label says we family.
Right.
Like we family.
That's like a thing.
We all family. We family
and that's
this, we family that.
That's
until
the beginning.
Money gets paid out.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Right.
Look at all of G Unit.
Okay.
So,
but you know what? It's something, that's the beginning stages of the manipulation. And, and to get you at a certain level of comfortability to go along with the flow. Okay. Even when it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't feel good to you, it doesn't seem right. And because we've been told we got you and we're going to just trust us, you know, all those things that typically make a human feel a certain level of security, we're told those things, and that's never really the intent. And because I went through a lot of that, I never knew that it would be an agency, but I always knew I wanted to create something, or even just the people that work with me, my band or whoever, I always wanted it to be a real family. And when I say the words, I got you, I really got you. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so that to me is important. And that is another reason why, in addition to just wanting to bring attention and make young artists aware, also to give artists that feel like because they've reached a certain age or because they made a mistake or had had to stop because they had a family or unexpected, whatever may have happened, feeling like they don't have they can't jump back in when you want to, you know what I'm saying? So also there's a rebranding department Even artists that their career got interrupted, they had to go to jail, or they had something traumatic happen, and they just feel like it's over for them. For me, I'm purposely pulling those people in because I just want to see them go from one extreme to the next, and more than me see it, I want them to be able to see that. Okay, well, I thought this was completely over for me, and we come back in and we rebrand it, we re-record it, we whatever needs to be redone, and you're able to see it still come to fruition. Now, does that mean that everybody is going to be a global success? Absolutely not. And so I don't promise that to anybody. Mm-hmm. What I promise is to position you, and even mentally, because we have a life coach that we've brought on, because we know this is bigger than music. And so artists deal with a lot of mental blocks. And so it was important to me to have somebody on the team that could handle that up and down thing that we all experience. And then we have an image consultant. So for those that felt like, maybe they gained a bunch of weight, or we have a trainer, we have just things that are outside of the walls of the studio.
Yeah.
But the things that still matter,
Trying to give people a better life experience, and hopefully that reflects in, their life and then the music.
Yeah. And it does. It's definitely connected. You can tell when you have an artist in front of you who is living a certain kind of life.
Oh yeah,
it does a good thing for the passion, and you can see it, and it makes you very believable and relatable. Yeah. But then in the packaging of everything, that's where it shouldn't be reflected. We still want to come out with our best foot forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about, one of the things you're saying is that you want artists to avoid the whole getting trapped and manipulated in the family aspect.
I want artists to look at the facts.
And treat this like a business.
Right.
Okay. So what are some of the other things, just looking from your experience, that you dealt with coming up?
One of the big things that we are also highlighting is the legal end of everything. Okay. And when it comes to protection and copywriting and how that actually is supposed to be handled. One of the biggest misconceptions is that someone can do that for you. Yeah. If someone is taking your stuff and you're allowing them to go and copyright it for you, I got news for you. That's now y'all song. And so most times, so it's teaching artists. The agency is, one of my goals is to teach a certain level of independence, and to get out of the mindset that because I'm the talent, I don't need to be involved with anything else other than I need to show up, sing, whatever. It's like we're gonna be nosy about everything. I need to know what the finances looking like. I need to know what I got paid for this show. Where's the receipt of that? We have to get more involved and stop being so Hollywood about it, especially prematurely, and just be a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to encourage that. So when we're having business meetings, the artists are invited. They're encouraged to come. Sometimes they have to come, and we want it all out there so everything can be inclusive. And there should not be any secrets. If you have a team and manager and things like that, there's nothing that should be off limits to you, the talent, the star of it all anyway.
And looking at that as a business, because you watch, I feel like it's almost a cliche where you see the biopic of any musical talent, any musical star, and no matter what their success is, and this is not just whether real life or even like a documentary or even if it's a fake made up story, that first album, it's always like, oh, well, you just go sing, or you go rap, or you go dance, or you go whatever, and and it's like some guys in the, I saw some guys in the room, but I don't know what they talking about. It's like you go back, whether it's New Edition or whether, the New Edition movie, you're looking at it where it's like, when they got their money, and you're like,
we have to split up 7 cents between you
here
guys.
Goes 35 cents, and you're like, you spent your whole year of your young life right now doing this, you're working, and then nobody in this room checked anything. And the people that y'all paid to check stuff didn't check anything.
Oh, they checked it.
I'm
about to say
that's all right.
They checked it. They checked it right on.
They checked it right into their own pocket.
Right. Exactly. They checked it and
because
they
knew that you were not interested in that. That we got you, that they sold you, and that we're gonna take care of it, that they sold you. They knew you fell for it and that you believed it. So for me, it is important to pull each and every artist in, board style meeting, or board meeting style, and just have them and lay it all out. This is what's going on. So we're basically teaching artists how to manage themselves. And then when the career gets demanding enough to get a manager, you still know everything that needs to be happening, and you can really be the CEO of yourself and of your brand.
Now, are you out here seeking out certain artists, or is it just anybody can come to you?
To be honest with you, I haven't had time to.
Okay.
It has spread like a wildfire, and I haven't even put up an official submission address. I haven't even done that. The artists literally are coming, and I don't know how some of them are even finding out about it. Actually, because we haven't had time to really do. This is the first day of media.
Yeah,
this is the first time I'm on any platform talking about the 713
Wow.
And already I'm having to hire junior level executives to help me come on and to manage it. Because at this point, it's too much for even just me.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, and that's in 30 days and some change now. And so, Liz Vaughn, we have her in the building now. She is my partner and vocal coach to the agency. And
okay.
she and maybe 2 or 3 other people are my only real team right now. I haven't even finished completing the entire dream team yet, and we already have, like, I'm gonna probably have to stop accepting for a minute to get everything,
just to get everything,
to finish everything, but that just speaks on the level or how much of a need was there at the first sign of it being available to people. They are ready to be a part.
Now, what was the first sign to you to start it? If we're talking about this is relatively new and you've been doing this for a while, what was the point where you're like, you know what, I need to show people how to do this.
Well, let's talk business. Let's talk music business, or just business in general. I knew that this was something that I wanted to do when my inbox would be full of a bunch of, what you think I should do about? I knew when I got tired of typing all day long and not receiving no cash apps that at some point I'm going to have to turn this into a business and monetize it, because it takes too much of my time for me not to. So I have to be honest with myself going into it. It was like, okay, well, I'm just going to create like a little service, I had no idea that it would be something that would move the city, or kind of start to shape another culture that is more industry driven. When I did it, it was just like supposed to be some side, my little side change or whatever. So it was a business move for me. And then, my heart started to really come into it when I started to look at these artists and see myself as Chad J.
Yeah.
When I first got started and was completely lost. And then once I started to make the connection that, well, damn, this is what all of that was about. This is full circle. Then I was able to, which was very quickly my heart, it became a heart thing for me and a God thing for me when I connected the dots that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be at this exact time. So take it serious and execute it, and so that's what I'm doing, but this is the first official day of media. And so the word is already,
wow.
Yeah.
So you're announcing it right now on the In My Humble Opinion podcast.
Yeah.
But it's already out there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is good. That's amazing. It's a blessing. Yeah. It's kind of like it's a high key blessing that you had to go through everything that you went through.
Well, now
as
that I know,
rocky as it was.
Now that I know why, now that I know why I went through it, it's so interesting because each one of the artists that are coming to me, they have like their own story. It's it's very intense. All of them. None of them have this cookie cutter past. Everybody comes with some girth and some substance, when it comes to who they are and what they've gone through. So we can all really relate to each other, in a sense to where it's been up and down for us all, and we each are just where we are in our journey. But, even from the artists, and then I was even very particular about the coaches, that I chose, because I needed them to have a certain substance to be able to pull from that same experience and be able to, effectively coach, And so when you say Liz Vaughn in the city of Houston, as a musician and as a singer, she's accomplished so much. And there's, that resume is endless. But then when you say Liz Vaughn, my friend that I know behind closed doors, I think about the trauma and the pain and the different things that have contributed to who she is as a person, and now, also as an artist, and now as a coach. And we'll get into that, but there's a story that that positions. Yeah, I would love for her to.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, please.
You can actually
I was trying to get y'all the cue.
Here.
I was trying to make it a smooth transition.
You can actually roll that chair right over here and just come right over here. And that way you can speak into the mic. You just got to speak directly into the mic, straight on. So let's let you get situated in first. Now, what prompted you to want it? So you two are working together. Is this equal partnership? Are you working as a coach? What prompted you to start working with him?
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna give it to you. This is a friendship.
Okay.
That is at a certain level to where we can trust each other, in our business endeavors.
Okay.
And so, first of all, it's a friendship, and it is something that may have started off as my baby, but in that, and I'm gonna let her explain how it's connected. But in that, she was able to birth a baby that she had kind of been holding on to, and so it was just crazy because none of it has really been planned out.
Okay.
It literally has happened, and it literally feels like fate, and like it just is time for these things to happen and to come full force. And so now, Liz Vaughn, I want you to kind of piggyback off of that.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Oh, here you can speak directly into there. There we go.
You doing?
You know what?
Okay.
There we go.
So, how y'all doing? Like you said, I'm Liz Vaughn, and I've been singing for a really long time. I've been doing this most of my life, and I have had the opportunity to travel with some people that helped shape my career. I sang background for Regina Bell for probably about 10 years. And so I've been able to travel all over the world with her and gain some, perspective and knowledge in the industry. And I've done several one-offs with other artists or whatever. And so experience in that manner. Grew up in a musical family, always singing. But come to this point in life, and you do think that I'm 48, and you do get to a point to where you allow people to tell you your expiration date on gifting, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because it's a gift, and I understand it as that. So I'm not really sure why I allowed people to give me an expiration on something God gave me. That's not something you can really do. You don't get to determine that.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you don't get to determine that. But I never stopped. I never stopped. I've been singing full time here in this city for at least 15 years now. But I met Chad. I think we determined.
Because we had this thing where we look up and be like, how long
have we been? Yeah,
It's been
definitely over 10 years.
Yeah, it's been,
And of course, we met through other musical friends. But kind of people didn't really think that we would build our own separate relationship, but that's exactly what happened. And this is a person with a very old soul. So therefore, it was not weird at all that this 20-year difference friendship really is real. But I've dibbled and dabbled in vocal coaching and in my style of vocal coaching because it's holistic. My approach is different. I don't claim or profess to be a vocal teacher, though I know some technique to definitely, create and add longevity to your voice. But I am a coach, and I think about it from the standpoint of the game of football. I love football. So I think about it more from that standpoint, that you come to me with a talent, and it's my job to enhance it and show you where it works best.
Okay.
And to, just get you to where you need to be to create that star out there on that field. Only mine is on the stage. And so I really love prepping artists for the stage. So people who are very serious about doing this. So artists, I definitely keep that word out in the front, artist. And as he said, you know, it's funny, but I'm a very spiritual person. So I believe that God gives artists that backstory because he knows that we need it to drive. It drives us, you know, and in my backstory, I have experienced quite a bit of death. One being the murder of my 20-year-old son. My son was murdered in 2016. He was a dancer and on his way, you know, to doing this thing for real, because that's his dream, was to dance with Chris Brown. That was his, that's who drove him to start dancing. And, you know, he was able to definitely get into his craft. But his life was cut short over some senseless, you know, mess. And so that is something that shook me to my absolute core, for sure. However, my son didn't think anybody was better than his mom as a vocalist. So therefore, if I stopped, I would be dishonoring him, and I would never do that. Okay. So therefore, I push, you know, and I have 2 smaller children, and they continue to help me, you know, push through my day. And so this venture and this journey that I've started on with Chad, I decided to create a company and to partner and take on 713 as a client. So my company is Cage Bird Entertainment, and it's something I wrote a song years ago called Cage Bird. And yeah. So it is. It's all of it's been in the works for a really long time. This is a song I did with Chris Dave, you know, Houston native, that's out there doing his thing, and Luke Austin. And years ago, y'all, like literally probably about 10 years ago, we did this song, and it's sad. Didn't do anything about it, but the title and the premise of it just never left me. Just Cage Bird. But see, we have to set people free. We have to release these cage birds, and that's the thing of, you know, that's sort of my approach with the coaching. Like, I want to release what is inside these people.
I had not connected that yet. I feel a little bit. I feel late.
Yeah.
I feel like I should. I feel like I should
So
know about that.
I have to release what's inside of these people. Each one of them come with something really special, and I feel like as the vocal coach, I gotta find that, you know. And I'm coming from a mental health background too, so I it's my natural tendency to just. People are like, stop diagnosing me. I'm not trying to do that, but I am into the human mind, you know.
Okay.
And so I dig and I listen a lot, and I do. My sessions tend to turn into a therapy session that, you know, ultimately though is to help you be stronger on that stage, because you have to be in touch with who you are.
Absolutely.
And I want strong artists, and I want heartfelt artists. I don't want you up there in your head. I want you in your heart. The whole thing is to get you out of your head, because, you know, we can psych ourselves out in the mind and, you know, cause ourselves to completely fail when we know what we have. But if you're coming from your heart will not let you down. It will not let you down. And so that's my, you know, my whole approach with working with these artists. Just get inside yourself, inside your heart, and tell these people what it is that you want them to know. They will connect to it if it's genuine. They will connect to it.
Okay.
I mean, you say Caged Bird Entertainment, correct, Liz? That's good. And what you say your background is in mental health, correct?
Yeah, that is my trade. Absolutely. That's my trade.
What do you do in mental health?
I worked as a mental health case manager as well as facilitated groups for probably about 13, 14 years. I did conflict resolution and groups that help with anger management. And
a lot of stuff that artists need.
Yeah.
Oh, that's literally what I was getting at.
Yeah,
because it's like, I mean, just talking, especially to Chad, coming from just being Chad J, and just watching any artist, mental health is a big thing of going into something of going, I have a talent, I'm trying to make money off of this talent, and then I don't know where I'm going, and the people that I'm trusting are basically messing me. it's not PG. They're fucking me over.
Yeah.
And like and I bounce this question to both of you. Chad first. How did you going from Chad J to Chad Black? In between there, was there any bitterness going on?
First of all, can you believe that they went and looked at Chad? Let's just deal with that.
I look up everything, bro.
We got you.
I came here and they
you.
bombarded me with that. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Y'all want to interview.
Yeah. This is not. I mean, isn't it disrespectful when you come in and I'll be like, yeah, I heard one song.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you researched.
Yeah. We tried.
Okay, you threw me off a little bit. Okay, that's a friend moment. But bitterness, absolutely. Every emotion that you can think of happened between Chad J and Chad Black. And I ended up being a victor or victorious. And so that's how I was able to transition and take on a new identity. But I literally had to separate myself from that person. Whatever you went and seen, I haven't seen it in years, intentionally.
That's what I'm getting at, because when we first sang, and I said that to you, you were like, that's a different person.
Yeah.
And you really have it on camera where there's something that happened to me that was almost like, for a moment, if I can just really break it down or break down.
Break the walls down.
It really was almost like it felt offensive. If
I'm
I can be
sorry.
honest with you. No. What you did was ignite something, and you reminded me of something that helped me on this show, it came full circle for me on that everything I went through was for this moment. And that guy still matters, and he still contributed to something. That experience connected to that name. So although it is not a good memory for me, what you did was remind me in its reality. And I have to deal with that and accept that. And I have a way of separating myself from memories that I don't enjoy, remembering. And so when you said that to me, it literally jolted me. And I knew I had to sit up. I knew I was getting ready to be interviewed. And so it was what I came here to do passively, because I do this.
Yeah.
It really kind of made me have to be like, okay, so we dealing with these people did research.
Yeah.
And because in my mind, it pisses me off that it's still available and that it still can be researched, because I have fought to have it down and all that kind of, because that infuriates me. I had a moment in here when you said that to me. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
I will say you've done a good job of getting it, because we were looking. I mean, there's a point where it's like there's a little bit of stuff, and then it just stops, and then it's just Chad Black exists. And so I was like, "What?" I said, "Where's?" He's been doing this for a minute.
For a while.
Stuff? So that does show. Like, it's like, no, there was a definite. You definitely made the effort to get rid of that old person. Like, that's it.
Well, to be clear, it wasn't that person, but it was that person that went through.
Yeah.
All of the things that he went through within the industry, and just the mere fact that it can be researched is against my will, because I've asked for it to be removed.
Oh, wow.
I'm currently fighting for it to be removed. So that is still a reminder that my fight at that age is still happening.
I understand.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to help, and I'm doing.
And we also like the fact that you're out here trying to make sure that new artists
don't go through what you go
have
through.
that out there.
Yeah, because you have to know that for me to randomly change my name, that was an escape. It was not me being creative. It wasn't a creative decision.
I thought it was creative.
No. It's creative because I'm creative, but for me, on the inside of me, it was an escape, a separation, okay, you're not gonna honor my wishes, I'll create another person.
Like a Prince thing.
How about that?
Yeah, you separated. You definitely escaped.
And I did it.
And you definitely rose like a phoenix out the ashes, and you're doing your thing.
I just completely rebranded.
Yeah.
And that taught me
rebrand. All of this, it came full circle. And you're seeing it like right now on the In My Humble Opinion podcast.
Because a lot of times that's what it takes too. Because I guess the other thing too, when you talk about artists and you're talking about in terms of entertainment, you forget, I think a lot of people from the outside forget how much a company or a person can own another person's
existence.
Just essence. Like literally, I own everything about you, everything that you can produce, everything that you will become. your whole story. And it's like, yeah, and you see artists that have dealing with this for years where it's like, there's a company that owns pretty much the essence of me because I signed a document when I was like 15.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I said that there are so many things that we would do at 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up in our early 20s where it's like, I don't want that to have to be the focal point and control the rest of my life. That's just something that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. That one would even have the desire to be that much in control of somebody else in what they're doing, So it's twisted. And so for me, for that reason, it infuriates me.
Oh, yeah.
Because it feels like a violation and it feels abusive to me.
It is.
So for that reason, which again, guys, I didn't come here to talk about that. I came here to give y'all a very well rehearsed media rollout about this damn agency, this show, and it was very perfected, huh?
But that was not, what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. I know,
but I think it's awesome because it was another teaching moment, not even, for you. Even like you said, it brought you to a point. That bitterness, though, like you said, in between, Liz, the 20-year-old that was traveling all over the place, and Liz, the working artist, mother, wife, every day doing this. People don't really understand that, that you are a professional singer. I'm a professional singer because this is how I make money and pay bills every day. But there are so many things that happened to deter me from industry over, all of these years. Like I said, I'm 48 years old. I've been at this a long time. And it's not that I was never approached, with, different things, but you would be amazed at the things that people will ask you to do. I can be very honest. My 20-year-old, I was pregnant with him in 1994. I was asked to abort him by a label. Yeah. Wow. By a major label.
Just because of this is not what we see of your career at all. This is
abort your baby. They had somebody to kind of, slide it in there to where I couldn't come back and, I guess say this or that about the company. They had this person to have a conversation with me as if it was his opinion and his idea. Okay. But it was the label. Wow. And, that's just one of the many disgusting things that I've been approached with from a label that absolutely turned me off and created a lot of stigma and trauma, surrounded around somebody putting a piece of paper in my face. That was something that was traumatizing to me. And still to this day, it's not the most comfortable situation because, like he said, it brings up something that I would prefer to forget. And that piece of paper represents something that didn't always feel good to me. And so, but I understand in business that, simple contracts and just coming to some terms are a good thing. However, I have to talk myself through that because those old, that stigma that I have on a contract continues to haunt me.
Resident.
Absolutely. And, the thing that you were saying about, how to put that it's compartmentalizing. We can compartmentalize. I think that's another gift of an artist. That's just something that we split our brains all the time, because we have this creative, we have this analytical side, and we're, trying to exist in life with both of them. And it's almost like an inner battle because that creative side of you does not necessarily mesh with the analytical side. And I have it very strong on both sides. And it is, it's a daily struggle.
To stay somewhere in the middle.
It is. It's a daily struggle because as a creative, I could just lie through life literally because I'm, I'd like to be able to take my time and just, not be on anybody's schedule. But of course, I'm a grown up and I'm a mother and a wife. And so I know that there are schedules and constraints, time constraints that have to be followed or whatever. And so, like I said, it's a constant battle, but to just really answer your question, of course, there's all sorts of bitterness that occurs. And for me, that question that you guys asked him, one of the mistakes that he made early, mine was I gave to everybody else's career very early on. Like I said, I traveled the world with a lot of other people standing in their background and them knowing what I had to offer or give. But being perfectly fine with keeping me right there and I was just grateful.
You were just happy to be a part of
that.
I
was
I
living.
Knew that's what it was going to be. Yeah.
Still this is experience, but then at what point does experience, flip over to literally just being, okay, this is enough. You've gained enough experience in this. It's been way past time for you to do this for yourself. And that was my biggest mistake, was giving and lending to everybody else's vision and kind of putting mine on the back burner. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's good that you guys are out here now and you're exposing new artists. Actually, I'm sorry, because you guys are working with new artists. You're also doing rebranding of old artists.
Or we don't say all, but we say artists with experience already, and maybe some negative experiences.
Oh yeah.
So we're going and changing the narrative.
And we're also talking about, I mean, even just now, the way you two were talking, when you talked about the bitterness, I like the fact that you're talking about things like life coaches and stuff like that to work through. Because you're saying you still don't even like to see a contract. Like, the idea of a contract is still something where you're like, hey, just from your own past experience, that turns you away. So these are things that have to get worked through, and it's a good thing your agency is pushing that. How do people get in contact with you guys, and how can they become a part of this?
Well, we'll start with what we've had time to do so far, which is the Instagram page at the 713 Agency.
Okay.
And 713 is the number. So that is right now the primary way to reach us. And then we have the 713 Agency, the same spelling, at gmail.com.
Okay.
Those are the two main ways right now. If you send messages to either of those, somebody will get back to you for now. Now, we're working on a website and we're working on, other things, but right now that would be the most secure way to get in contact, or my direct page, Chad, which is Chad Black, and then 713, so.
How you spell Chad Black?
ChaddBlack, the color.
All right, Chad Black 713. Okay, that was actually wonderful. It was a good thing to have you guys come out. Plus, just having a conversation. I know you say you came for a cookie cutter.
Well, no, let me say that. Let me correct that. I didn't come for cookie cutter, but I am because I have a lot going on right now.
Yeah,
I rehearsed for this, and this was something that I came to execute in a certain kind of way.
I feel it.
And it wasn't an emotional way that I anticipated. It was this is the information, this is the, but of course I didn't anticipate amazing narrators and interviewers.
We appreciate it.
We just talk.
I anticipate, which is the amazing thing, because more than amazing, I didn't anticipate such authentic, unrehearsed but genuine conversation. So I appreciate that.
It's good to see people come out from any type of circumstance and be able to excel, and that's why it's good to have you guys here. And we just want to show. Houston, like any artist or anybody that comes up here, just have a conversation. It could be about anything. It's just excelling, and it's just, we're just shooting the shit, having a conversation,
right?
Because it's all opinions,
right?
And we're happy to have you guys. In my humble opinion, once again, you're Chad Black and
Liz Vaughn.
Liz Vaughn. Once again, in my humble opinion podcast, where the opinions are humbled and the thoughts aren't jumbled. It was really great to have you guys here, and we're out.
All right.
Fade to black. Face of the in my humble opinion sign.